Live and back in action once again. The dynamic duo is back. I am your host, Dominic Barnes. You can catch me on Twitter at FreshlySnipes21. And today we are here with our Week 3 recap of college football. With me here, as always, is Mr. Bryan Greer. What's going on, sir?
Yeah, it's a lot going on this week. I actually have just gotten back from an Amber Alert trying to find Todd Gurley. We have not seen him since the fourth quarter of the Georgia South Carolina game. I'm doing all I can on my part. I don't know, Dominic, you've seen him since that fourth quarter of that game on Saturday, but really trying to do my part. Mark Rick, I'm not giving up on him.
Hey, man, the reason we ain't see him because the coach didn't want to give it to him in the fourth quarter. But that is something we will save for later, actually. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. First game up will be Oklahoma, 34, Tennessee 10. This was actually the first meeting between the two teams since the 1968 Orange Bowl, which Oklahoma won that meeting as well. This is also the first of a home-and-home series set between the two. This game pretty much went the way that I was expecting it to go. I mean, considering Oklahoma has outscored its first three opponents a combined 55-0 in the first quarter, and it was evident when the game started that it was pretty much going to be that way for the rest of the game. Their front seven actually looked a whole lot better than I anticipated. Like, I know Oklahoma had good defense, but the fact that you hold a team to negative rushing yards all the way to the fourth quarter, especially in college, that's pretty impressive considering either the running back will probably get loose or even the quarterback. Even the quarterback will probably, get a scramble for a few yards. But the fact that they held them to negative rushing yards until the end of the third quarter, early fourth quarter, was really impressive to me. Julian Wilson had that pick six in the fourth quarter that pretty much sealed the game that was, already out of hand. It was like, what, a 100-yard interception return for a touchdown. I mean, Trevor Knight was 20 for 33 for 308 yards and a touchdown. Sterling Shepard caught 5 passes for 109 yards. For Tennessee, it wasn't all bad. Justin Worley, he was 21 for 44 for 200 yards and a touchdown. But he was intercepted twice, and he got sacked 5 times. So them Sooners was coming. I mean, there's not too much you can really say about this game for me. I can say personally because I wasn't really expecting a lot out of this game. But I do think, and I know you got a lot to say about on the Tennessee side of the thing, so I'm going to go ahead and throw it to you about that. What do you got?
Yeah, on the Tennessee side, they had over 20 freshmen traveling for the first time to this game. So this game, I expected just like you to be a blowout. They're going to be good in the future. They have a lot of strong recruits, but how can you expect them putting 20-plus freshmen on the field and competing with Oklahoma, who has, like you said, Trevor Knight, Keith Ford, Sterling Shepard. These guys are really powerhouses because Keith Ford had 56 yards on 15 carries and 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving, 1 rushing, and their defense is getting better by the week, Oklahoma's defense. So overall, this was a dominant performance by OU, but like you said, with Tennessee, I expect big things from them in a couple of years if they just be patient and let these freshmen grow, because this is a learning experience for them, but Oklahoma was just too much for them, and it's overmatched. And kudos for Oklahoma just putting it to another SEC team, which people somehow still think is the best conference, which it isn't anymore. So from top to bottom, at least. So yeah, kudos to Bob Stoops and Oklahoma, who's I think at home 4-0 against the SEC since he's been there.
Exactly. So yeah, like I said, I wasn't anticipating their defense to just be that good. Tennessee's no slouch. Like I said, they did have a lot of freshmen, but at the same time, to hold any team to negative rushing yards until the fourth quarter.
That's a wild stat.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. Up next, we're going to go Boston College at USC. Boston College with the upset, 37-31. Wow, I mean, woo, good Lord. Tyler Murphy, the quarterback, rushed for 191 yards.
Wow.
But he only had 54 passing yards. How ridiculous is that? I don't care if this is college or not. The fact that the quarterback...
I don't care if it's high school.
Exactly. The quarterback ran for almost 200 yards and only had 54 passing yards. and he threw an interception, but you wouldn't even known that because he only threw the ball like 14 times. But
Yeah,
I
they just
mean,
got the pass at Boston College. They just got it, the forward pass.
exactly. You know, he broke for a 66-yard touchdown run with about 3 minutes left. You know, which pretty much sealed the deal for them to beat USC. And good God, how the mighty has fallen. I don't know what's going on with USC's offense, but nothing against Boston College, but the fact that they only combined for 337 excuse me, total yards against Boston College really says a lot to me. And, you know, John Hillman, Miles Willis, and Sherman Austin for Boston College, they all broke for 50-yard runs apiece. So besides Tyler Murphy, the quarterback, you have receivers and running backs also breaking off 50-yard runs against a defense who at least supposed to be at least decent, well, decent enough to be able to beat Boston College. They trailed 17-6 in the second quarter before scoring 24 unanswered points. Again, this is the USC. I don't care. USC really technically don't have down years because they're USC. They're a great tradition. Their school is great, but
Didn't show up then.
Yeah, it didn't look too good in this game. So a lot of props from me goes to Boston College. Now, for them to advance and make a push to at least win the conference title, your quarterback gonna have to have more than 54 passing yards, though. That's not, running for 190 yards is cool.
Baby steps, sir.
Throw the ball. Yeah, look now, that's a huge gap. Now, if it was like 100 and 100, if it was even, then okay. But it was a huge, significant difference between rushing yards and passing yards. He almost had more, or if he probably did have more rushing yards than the whole string of running backs combined. So he got the majority of Boston College rushing yards. So, yeah, but like I said, kudos to them. But at the same time, if y'all want to get further down this college season, you're going to have to pass more than 54 yards. So, with that being said, I'm going to throw it to you. What you think about Boston College and USC?
Yeah, USC should be fine for allowing a quarterback to beat them with only 54 yards passing. I don't know what Steve Sarkisian was saying after the game about we're still a great team. I don't know about that, sir. You had over 400 yards rushing against you. And after looking so good against Stanford, I don't understand how you allow Tyler Murphy, who looked like Barry Sanders out there, have 191 rushing yards. Yeah, like you said, Hillman, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, I don't know. Were they in the triple option out there looking like Army because they didn't know how to pass the ball? That was really sad. I was blown away by this because I thought that Kessler and that defense that looked so stingy against Stanford was going to easily beat Boston College. So, yeah, Steven Sarkisian, you might want to shore up the run defense because it looked like a 4-lane highway in L.A. the way that Boston College was able to just run the ball on you. So, yeah, this game, I'm speechless just at how Boston College was able to do that. Because if they're that good, then we need to look at them being one of the participants in the college football playoff.
Yes, I agree. Now, a game that took place in your backyard, like pretty much literally in your backyard.
Yeah, I didn't even have to get ticket.
UCLA defeats Texas 20-17. And look, before I even start naming stats, this is how you know how this game was going to turn out. The coin toss. For those who don't know, I was sitting down watching this game, and something had, things are bad when the referee has to turn his microphone off to tell you stuff during the coin toss. So this is what happened. You don't mind if I go into what happened, do you?
Oh, not at all. Hope you were.
Okay, so what happened was UCLA ended up getting the ball in the start of both halves because when UCLA won the coin toss, they deferred. That was like, okay, well, we'll give Texas the ball. But no, Texas was like, well, we want to start on defense. So the ref cut his microphone off and was like, well, if you do that, you do know that you won't be getting a ball at the beginning of the third quarter, right? I'm assuming that's what he said. We don't know what he said, but I'm assuming that's how the conversation went because it was real quick. So I guess they was cool with it. So UCLA ended up getting the ball in the first quarter and, in the beginning of the second half. That alone should have let everybody know that this game was about to be a disaster for Texas. But they caught a break. You know, Huntley, he ended up getting hurt. So you'll be like, okay, well, you know, maybe Texas can, you know, go ahead and do something. It was on the second possession, I believe, after a scramble on the third and 9 play. So he gets hurt. He landed awkwardly on his left arm. So you'll be like, okay, here we go, Texas. Wait just 1 second, because they do. They actually does have a nice little backup quarterback, you know, son of Rick Neuheisel, good old Jim, who completed 23 of 30 passes for 178 yards after Huntley hurt his elbow in the first quarter. Now, he threw a 33-yard touchdown pass to Jordan Payton with about 3 minutes left, and was pretty much the game-winning touchdown. Swoops. This is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about swoops. Now, if you look at his yardage and his completion rate, it looked good. But he was doing a lot of dinking, you know, like a little underhand, little 5-yard passes, doing a lot of dinking and ducking. So he didn't really take that many shots downfield. To me, that's a question about, I don't know if they don't trust him to be able to do that, or is it the fact that he don't feel comfortable taking them shots. But at the same time, because David Ash is not coming back, so if you're going to be the starter, you need to go ahead and just tell your coach, okay, hey, look, you know, we need to take shots. And the fact that they was winning the game, that should have let you know that, okay, well, you can, you know, take at least some kind of 10, at least throw a 10-yarder. You know, like our little 5-yard passes and stuff like that is not going to fly. And, oh, my God, the safeties for Texas looked horrible. Now, he was a walk-on. I understand that. This is one thing about walk-on freshmen that is kind of, you know, hit or miss with the college game. But at the same time, it was like if you didn't think he was ready, you shouldn't have put him out there, because he was just missing a lot of tackles and getting burned. Now, the thing that stood out to me, now, for those who don't know, I am a big Jonathan Gray fan. I've been watching him since high school, and I know what he can do. He is coming off an ACL injury, but him and Malcolm Brown only combined for 118 rushing yards. You know, Malcolm Brown did have that play, you know, where he ran a dude over and all that, woohoo. But for me, Jonathan Gray only touched the ball 7 times. So for me, if you was gonna use the two-headed monster or whatever, like at least have it, you know, somewhat balanced. You know, Malcolm Brown would be more the power and Jonathan Gray is more the speed guy. But Jonathan Gray could be a little bit of both. And the fact that he was averaging 7 yards for each carry he had should have let you know that maybe he needs to be touching the ball just a little bit more.
Maybe so. Yeah, that would have been nice.
Than 7 touches. So for me, I found that a big issue. And that was also, you know, when you have the lead, you can control the clock. But like I said, a lot of props go to UCLA and their program for stepping up when, you know, their star quarterback got hurt. And I mean, I don't know. Like Texas they have a young squad, you know, they have a new coach and stuff like that. So it's gonna take them a while, but at the same time, you can't just lose games like this, you know. So, and considering the fact that it was actually more Texas fans than I was expecting to see, it was a lot of burnt orange at Cowboy Stadium, which was kind of a shocker. So the fact that, you know, you still kind of had the home field advantage. You know, your opponent's star player is hurt, and you still can't capitalize on that. That says a lot to me. So, I mean, I'm going to throw it to you. What you got about UCLA and Texas?
Yeah, going back to the coin toss, I guess at Texas, their admissions are pretty, lackadaisical because they don't teach this basic math down there, because that was embarrassing and hilarious at the same time. But besides that, Texas, this game they should have won. It's inexcusable not get Jonathan Gray the ball more than 7 times. I don't understand that. You know, Tyrone Swoops, I think they need to trust him more, because he seems to have a pretty good, you know, arm on the one touchdown pass in the corner in the third quarter that he threw. You know, seems to be very athletic and has a lot of things. But I know Chuck Strong, he don't play around as far as, you know, just allowing his players to just go out there and do whatever they want to. So. Overall, this was a very good game. I want to also just talk about Jim Moore Jr. his halftime adjustments, because he also did this when he was at Virginia to a couple weeks ago, their game at Virginia. It seems that he's very good at getting the offense back on track at halftime, because in the second half, they were just a very well-oiled machine, and Jerry Neuheisel looked very good in the second half to get them back in the game and win it. Them losing Brett Hundley, who is anything and everything for that, for that program on offense, that was a big blow. So for Jim Mora to do it where it was 90%, I believe, crowd in favor for Texas on the road in a hostile environment, that I give them a lot of props, because I'm hearing a lot of stuff about UCLA's not looking that good and all that. Well, they're winning their games. They may be winning ugly, but they are winning, and Jim Mora Jr. seems to do make great halftime adjustments, because they really should have lost 2 of their first 3 games, in my opinion.
They should have.
And, I believe that Jim Mora Jr. deserves a lot of credit for keeping this team going. And now we don't know how long, Brett Hundley's going to be out, who was a preseason Heisman candidate.
So, yeah, I mean, like I said, with that being said, it's a travesty of the fact that Jonathan Gray only got – I mean, I know Malcolm Brown has seniority, but all that. But like I said, if somebody's averaging 7 yards each time he touched the ball, maybe he deserves to get a little bit more touches. I mean, that's just me. I mean –
well, that's any logical thinking human being, I think, because we all know, especially being in Texas in high school, once Jonathan Gray touches the ball and gets an open field, he's going to take it to the house. There's no doubt about that. So I don't know in Texas why they're not giving him more of a shot.
Exactly. I'm right there with you. So the next game we're going to talk about is East Carolina beat Virginia Tech 28-21. Man, I bet you they wish they had at least Michael. They'll even take probably Marcus Vick by now. But
yeah, Marcus Vick has a lot of time on his hands after this Sunday.
So just the first quarter alone, ECU was up 21-0 in the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken. So it was like, oh good, it's gonna be one of them games for Virginia Tech. I will give Virginia Tech props. They did come back from the 21-point deficit, but at the same time, no offense to East Carolina, but there's no way that you should be down 21-0 in the first quarter
at
home to East Carolina, the same team that knocked out Ohio State last week.
Yeah,
fell behind early at home and then lost to East Carolina.
I guess they make a lot of money out of Blacksburg. That's what they were doing.
Oh, yeah, man. The 2 X's on the bottom. That's. Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
Virginia's known for
but their offense looks so inefficient, and their defense. I don't know what was going on with their defense, and the fact that they're trying to be a force in the ACC, no matter how quote unquote weak you would think the ACC is, the fact that East Carolina just came in and did that to you on your home, at your house, to let you know that y'all might need to make some adjustments. Shane Carden threw for 427 yards, 3 touchdown passes, and also had the game-winning rushing touchdown. So a lot of props to him. A lot of props goes to East Carolina for the fact that when Virginia Tech did come back, they didn't panic, because on a big stage like that, playing against, ACC team, Virginia Tech and stuff like that, losing a 21-point lead, you could easily get discouraged and be like, oh, man, we done let them come back. We probably finna lose now. But they didn't do it. They stuck to it. Now, it was interesting when you look at the stats, because of the fact that Virginia Tech actually ran almost 20 more plays than East Carolina did, and they held the ball for 13 more minutes in East Carolina. Now, when you look at stuff like that, if you just look at that and don't look at the score, you would be like, oh, okay, so Virginia Tech won, right? No, they didn't. If you had the ball for almost 15 minutes longer than your opponent, you would assume that, you're controlling the clock, you're going down, you're tiring the defenses out. No. The only reason why I was like that is because East Carolina was scoring so quickly, to the fact that they didn't even need to hold on to the ball that long. On the Virginia Tech side, Brewer, he completed 30 of 56 passes with 298 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he also had 2 interceptions. Now, the thing that stood out to me most as far as both teams goes, neither one of these teams ran for over 100 yards. It's baffling to me just like, Oklahoma holding their opponent to negative rushing yards, it's baffling that neither one of these college football teams ran for over 100 yards. So, Trayvon Brown, Isaiah Jones, and Bryce Williams, they all had a touchdown, grab a piece. Breon Allen, he added 54 yards on 8 carries. But like I said, a lot of props goes to East Carolina for holding on to the lead and keeping their poise at the end of the game. What you got to say about this one, sir?
Yeah, this game right here, it shocked me after how good Virginia Tech looked against Ohio State. But yeah, Beamer ball, like I said, that's usually what happens. They come up once a year to a team they should easily beat at home and fall short. And I want to give my boy Shane Carden some credit here. 427 yards, like you said, 3 touchdown passes to keep his poise in the fourth quarter, like they were going to lose and choke this lead away. He was really good on that last drive, and I got to criticize Michael Brewer. On that last interception, where was he throwing that ball? I want to know what he was doing because he needs an eye check after that. He just threw it up there, just YOLO'd it, and it was horrible. Gave perfect field position for East Carolina. They like you said, ran the ball in for a touchdown. East Carolina had no business being in this game, let alone winning it. Virginia Tech, I guess they didn't get enough, special team touchdowns and crazy block field goals to win this game because it seems like Beamer ball means we only score through special teams and defense. So, yeah, Michael Brewer, he lost his game with his couple of interceptions. He didn't keep his poise, I believe. They panicked, and East Carolina was there for the win. Even though we're joking about East Carolina, they took the win. And I give props to them because Virginia Tech should have just been coasting this game. And I don't know where they are in the rankings now, but I don't know how they're still in the top 25 after losing this game. This is a coaching, seems like, kind of, can criticize the coaching for this because they like they just partied all week and just read the media and the Twitter and social media all week because nobody saw East Carolina being competitive in this game, let alone winning. So I think Frank Beamer and his coaching staff deserve criticism for them allowing East Carolina to come into their house and win.
I'm right there with you. Like I said, when this game was over with, I think I laughed from a very good place because I was like, wow, East Carolina. But East Carolina, every now and then, they will pull the upset. So
yeah, they're a competitive team, but they shouldn't be in the same ballpark with Virginia Tech as far as winning.
Exactly. Like I said, when the fact that they was up 21-0 in the first quarter I was like, wow, all right. Like, this is how this game is going to go. So a lot of credit goes to East Carolina, like you said. Now, I guess the most exciting game you could say for the weekend.
Or if you're Georgia, the most frustrating game.
Yep. Touche. That's very true. South Carolina beat Georgia 38-35. Now, I just want to go to the fourth quarter in Georgia's final drive.
I'm glad you're going there.
I know I'm fast forwarding a little bit, but I don't care.
It needs to be fast forwarded.
So, Georgia driving downfield, they're on the goal line. Ty Gurley doesn't get the ball. What?
Yeah.
The dude that finished with 131 rushing yards doesn't get the ball at the goal line for the win.
That's a Mike Bubble offense.
So you trying to tell me that I don't care. Like, even if they saw it coming out, I would have gave him about 3 straight times. Just like give the Gurley and let him make something happen.
You didn't like the bootleg?
No, it was horrible. That was the worst bootleg I've seen since Peyton Manning did against the Cowboys. But it's just that baffled me because I was just sitting there looking like, okay, well, they're finna give Gurley the ball. Give it to him 3 straight times. He'll get it. You know what I'm saying? He'll find a way to get in the end zone. No. Then the field goal was missed. So Ty Gurley's just on the sideline.
And he made 28 before that in a row.
Exactly. So one of the most consistent kickers you have misses to me it was a chip shot. In my opinion, that was a chip shot field goal. But to be honest with you, Georgia shot their own self in the foot. Mason had that, intentional grounding call, which pushed her back. just to avoid the sack, and then they get to the 11. He missed the field goal. The ending of this game just baffled me. I know you got some stuff you want to say about this game.
Oh yeah.
I just had to get to that final Georgia possession because I just felt like just why it's too many question marks on that. So I'm gonna throw it to you. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, I understand your frustration on this game. I mean, who couldn't be frustrated? If I was a Georgia fan, I'd be writing a letter to the administration of Georgia on Mark Richt, Mike Bobo while they're still employed on a Monday morning. Uh, Todd Gurley is a man amongst boys, as far as I'm concerned. How, like you said, on that last drive, you're not giving it to him 3 straight times. He is a human wrecking ball. This happens every year with Mark Richt and Mike Bobo, especially against South Carolina, where they seem to just totally throw the playbook out and don't utilize the players that are their best assets. Todd Gurley should have won this game for them. I give South Carolina credit, but that play calling in the fourth quarter was so confusing. Mark Richt seems to always coach not to lose and not as a coach to win. And I wanted on the other side, I do want to give credit to South Carolina and Dylan Thompson. He has looked fantastic this year. He had 271 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown, so 4 overall. His passing has gotten so much better. How he laid the third touchdown pass, how he laid it over the top to the tight end in the middle of in the end zone was incredible. He keeps his poise. He really leads that team. Mike Davis is supposed to be the best player on this offense, but it seems that Dylan Thompson has taken over and is with the receivers just put the team on his back. And I didn't think that South Carolina was that bad starting season. I just thought A&M showed how good they are. And the last couple of weeks, they've shown that they're not no slouch. And once again, here we are with Georgia losing a game that everybody thought they would win. And your boy Mark Richt, once again in the firing line, wondering what he's doing, bootlegging and getting it to guys that shouldn't be having the ball. And I found it funny on the kickoff after one of the touchdowns for South Carolina. One of the players moved Todd Gurley out of the way to get the ball, and thought he would take it back to the house. That didn't happen again. Luckily, Mark Richt was smart enough to bench him on the kickoff for the next one and let Todd Gurley take it. Because, like I said, there needs to be an amber alert for Todd Gurley because I hadn't seen him. Saw him for the first 3 quarters, but since then I haven't seen him nowhere. So, yeah, Mark Richt, you have a lot of explaining to do after this loss.
I mean, the fact that even the opening drive, 9 plays, 75 yards, just boom, 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 scored quickly. Like, the fact that South Carolina did that so easily, in my opinion, says more about the Georgia defense. And Georgia did force 2 turnovers, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like they just did a lot with it because look at the end result. It just seems like the team eternally shot their own self in the foot. Because, like you said, you got pushing Gurley out of the way because you think you're going to run it back, not giving Gurley the ball, But like I said, a lot of props go to South Carolina for holding Georgia, to not scoring at the 4. Like, that says a lot. Because I don't think people really understand once you get into that goal line and that red zone, it's actually harder to score than it is, coming from downfield because you can only do so much, if you're at the 4-yard line. It's only so much you can do creatively to where, the defense is looking for it. So, like I said, a lot of props go to South Carolina and their defense for that. So, before we get out of here, you have any closing thoughts, statements, anything?
Yeah, I do. I just want to give a shout out to Will Muschamp, surviving 1 more week. Still employed at Florida after going 3 overtimes with mighty Kentucky. No, not in basketball, in football. I wonder what they're doing down there because it looked like Will Muschamp in Florida is on tough times because I didn't think Kentucky could hang with them. But, if he had lost that game, I'm pretty sure he'd be right here with us doing the video. So, yeah, want to give out the good old Will Muschamp. You're still employed, sir. Kudos.
Oh, man, I thought you were going to give props to your TCU boys. But, man, it's a shocking day,
I'm just waiting until, the number 1 seed in the college football playoff to give them kudos. Right now still, September. But, yeah, they're doing what they're supposed to do. Nothing real, I expect them to dominate Minnesota in the Big Ten, as you being a Big Ten fan.
If you check the time on your phone, lately.
Yeah, but for me, I'm gonna give props to Michigan and Brady Hope. When you gonna find a headset? That's all I want to know. When's Brady Hope finally gonna get a headset? And I will be the first to say this now. Jim Harbaugh to Michigan. Jim Harbaugh to Michigan.
He does wear a headset.
Yeah, you know, I mean, and he does actually get his team fired up. So, I mean, hey, I'm gonna get it on a T-shirt. So next time you see me, hopefully I have the Jim Harbaugh to Michigan shirt. I'm gonna start this petition. Go blue. But with that being said, I am Dominic Barnes, the alleged host. You can find me on Twitter at FreshlySnipes21, and that guy right there on the other end is, you know, go ahead, sir.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, sir. Bryan Greer, you catch me on Twitter at crunch_TYME.
You will be able to find this wonderful video on thescoopzone.com. You can follow The Scoop on Twitter at TweetTheScoop. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Google Plus at The Scoop. And, of course, we will see y'all next week with week 4 of our college recap. But that doesn't mean this is going to be the last you see of us. Might have something in the works, maybe a little bit later from now. So with that being said, we will see y'all. Peace.